Right now, you are playing a game you are mathematically guaranteed to lose. You sit at your desk, you type a command, and you watch a loading bar do in 5 seconds what took you 5 years to master. Every single day, the technical skills you built your entire identity around are getting cheaper, faster, and more easily replicated by a machine. And your response? You try to work harder. You try to learn more. You try to outsmart the algorithm. That is exactly how they replace you. But it is not your fault you do this. Every instinct tells you that being the smartest person in the room is what keeps you safe. 3,000 years ago, a king who ruled an empire that would be worth over $2 trillion today wrote a terrifyingly accurate warning about this exact illusion, not as a prophecy, as a strategic blueprint. And that blueprint has been sitting in a book that 2 billion people own, but almost nobody actually reads. In this video, I am going to show you the difference between the intelligence that gets replaced and the wisdom that rules the machine. And the final rule we decode today will change how you walk into every room for the rest of your life. We are living through what historians will likely call the Great Silent Substitution. It is not happening with loud crashes or sudden, massive layoffs broadcast on the evening news. It is happening quietly, one optimized workflow at a time. The world has always told you that knowledge is power. You were conditioned to believe that the person who can process the most data and spit out the correct answer the fastest is the one who wins the game. But the game board has fundamentally changed. When knowledge becomes a commodity that can be generated instantly by an artificial intelligence, being smart in the traditional sense is no longer a competitive advantage. It is a baseline requirement. Yet millions of highly educated, fiercely intelligent people are currently exhausting themselves trying to outprocess a machine. They are playing a game of speed against an opponent that does not sleep, does not burn out, and does not demand a salary. Solomon saw the flaw in this approach long before the first line of code was ever written. He ruled over an incredibly complex ancient economy, dealing with foreign dignitaries, domestic betrayals, resource management, and massive infrastructure projects. He had advisors who were incredibly smart, men who could calculate grain yields and map the stars, but he understood that technical knowledge was merely the raw material. It was not the engine of power. Solomon wrote this in Proverbs 2, verse 11, "Discretion will protect you, and understanding will guard you." Notice that he does not say that data will protect you. He does not say that speed will guard you. He specifically points to discretion and understanding. To understand why this is the ultimate defense mechanism against obsolescence, we have to look at the psychological mechanics of what discretion actually is. The human brain is a prediction machine, but an artificial intelligence model is also a prediction machine. The difference is the context matrix. An artificial intelligence processes the text of what is being said. Discretion is the ability to process the text, the subtext, the hidden emotional drivers, and the unspoken political agendas in the room simultaneously. Discretion is the psychological capacity to understand not just what a person is asking for, but why they're asking for it, and what they are terrified of losing. Imagine a high-stakes corporate meeting. The artificial intelligence has already generated the quarterly financial report and the risk analysis. The smart analyst in the room thinks his job is to present the data flawlessly, but the wise strategist in the room is doing something the machine cannot do. The strategist is watching the chief financial officer's jaw tighten when a specific metric is mentioned. The strategist knows that the chief marketing officer is secretly trying to absorb a rival department and understands how the data will be weaponized later. The machine gives you the numbers, but discretion tells you when to present them, how to frame them, and who is going to be threatened by them. The smart employee is focused on the screen. The wise employee is focused on the human beings looking at the screen. Discretion protects you because it elevates you from a processor of information to a manager of human nature. This is the exact moment most smart people become replaceable. They stop reading the room because they are too busy reading the data. But there is a dangerous blind spot that only shows up when the technology is this good. This leads directly into one of the most profound observations ever made about human behavior. Solomon wrote this in Proverbs 20, verse 5. "The purposes of a person's heart are deep waters, but one who has insight draws them out." Let us decode the psychology here. An algorithm is fundamentally reactive. It waits for a prompt. It provides a response based on historical patterns and statistical probability. It takes people exactly at their word, but human beings are inherently deceptive creatures. We rarely say exactly what we mean. We hide our true motives behind layers of professional jargon, polite smiles, and rationalizations. The purposes of the heart are deep waters. They are submerged. They are dark. They are hidden beneath the surface. In the modern world, the most valuable skill is no longer answering questions. The machine answers questions. The most valuable skill is the ability to extract the true problem from a human being who is either unwilling or unable to articulate it. Have you ever walked out of a meeting knowing you lost and you still do not know why? It is because you answered the question they asked instead of addressing the fear they hid. Think about a freelance designer or an independent consultant. A client comes to you and demands a 20% discount, citing budget cuts. The machine tells you how to calculate the margin impact. It gives you 5 negotiation scripts. But the person with insight looks at the deep waters. They know the client is not actually worried about the budget. The client is worried about looking weak in front of their new board of directors. They need a psychological victory, not necessarily a financial one. The strategist draws out the true motive by asking the probing questions that a machine would never think to ask. If you spend your career trying to be the person who simply gives the answers, you will be replaced by something that gives faster, cheaper answers. But if you become the person who can sit across a table, look into the eyes of a terrified executive, a manipulative partner, or an insecure boss, and draw out the deep waters of their true intentions, you become utterly irreplaceable. You become the human interface that makes the machine's data actually useful in the real world. And this is where most intelligent people get destroyed, because when you are surrounded by perfect answers, you start to outsource your skepticism. Solomon noticed this dangerous tendency in human nature. In Proverbs 14:15, he wrote, "The simple believe anything, but the prudent give thought to their steps." The psychological mechanism behind this is cognitive offloading. When the human brain is presented with information that appears authoritative, especially if delivered quickly by a complex system, our critical thinking defenses lower. We assume that because the machine is smart, it is also right. We assume that beautifully formatted, statistically dense output reflects reality. This is the definition of what Solomon calls the simple. The simple believe anything that looks polished. But the prudent person operates differently. Prudence is the active, sometimes exhausting application of skepticism. In the age of artificial intelligence, hallucinations are not just software bugs, they are features of automated reality. The machine will confidently lie to you. It will present catastrophic strategic errors wrapped in the language of undeniable logic. The smart employee takes the output and immediately implements it. The wise employee takes the output and tests it against the gritty, unpredictable behavior of human beings. Consider a marketing algorithm that suggests slashing the price of a premium product because the data shows a temporary dip in conversion rates. The simple mind believes the data and drops the price. The prudent mind stops.
The prudent mind realizes that dropping the price of a luxury asset destroys its psychological allure. It signals desperation. The algorithm does not understand prestige, it only understands conversion math. The prudent person rejects the algorithm's advice, holds the line on price, and protects the brand's survival. The machine is a perfect soldier. It will march exactly where you tell it to march, even if it's marching off a cliff. But armies of perfect soldiers still need human generals with instinct to give the correct order. And the reality of the modern economy is that efficiency has been entirely commoditized. Which brings us to the architectural difference between the mind that gets fired and the mind that gets promoted. Solomon breaks down the hierarchy of cognitive value in Proverbs 24, verses 3 and 4. By wisdom a house is built, and through understanding it is established. Through knowledge its rooms are filled with rare and beautiful treasures. This is a masterclass in strategic thinking. Look at the order of operations. Knowledge is just the furniture. It's the rare and beautiful treasures that fill the rooms. For centuries, humans were valued based on how much furniture they could build and store in their minds.
A lawyer was valuable because they had memorized the case law. A doctor was valuable because they had memorized the symptoms. A marketer was valuable because they could manually build the performance dashboard. But now we have a machine that can generate infinite furniture on demand. It can fill the rooms instantly. If your only professional value is generating the furniture of knowledge, you are in grave danger. Because wisdom is the architecture. Wisdom is the blueprint. Wisdom is knowing how many rooms the house actually needs, where the foundation should be laid, and which direction the windows should face. Artificial intelligence is exceptional at generating content, writing code, and analyzing spreadsheets. It fills the rooms, but it cannot build the house. It cannot define the overarching vision of a company.
It cannot decide what a brand should stand for in times of cultural crisis. It cannot navigate the treacherous waters of office politics to build a coalition of human beings willing to bleed for a shared goal. You must transition your identity from being a furniture maker to being an architect. You have to stop competing on the tactical level of creating raw knowledge and start competing on the strategic level of knowing how to deploy that knowledge. The person who builds the house will always employ the entity that fills the rooms. Become the architect. But to become the architect, you have to master the most uncomfortable rule of all. It is the ultimate separator between the frantic, replaceable worker and the grounded, irreplaceable strategist. We live in a culture that worships speed and volume. The expectation is that you must always be producing, always be speaking, always be proving your intelligence in real time. But Solomon understood that true power rarely announces itself loudly. He wrote this in Proverbs 17, verse 28. Even fools are thought wise if they keep silent, and discerning if they hold their tongues. The psychological power of strategic silence is immense. When you are in a room full of people terrified of losing their jobs to automation, what do? They talk, they over-explain, they volunteer for busy work, they try to verbally justify their existence in every meeting. They are acting from a place of deep insecurity, and in doing so, they reveal every single one of their weaknesses. The machine is constantly generating noise, but the strategist uses silence as a weapon. Silence is not the absence of thought, it is the presence of control. When you hold your tongue, you become a blank screen onto which other people project their insecurities. When you do not rush to answer a question immediately, you force the other people in the room to fill the void. And when humans rush to fill a silent void, they almost always reveal too much.
They reveal their anxiety, they reveal their true leverage, they reveal the deep waters of their hidden agendas. By holding your tongue, you observe the data that the machine can never capture. The nervous tick of the CEO, the shifting eyes of the competitor, the subtle alliances forming across the boardroom table. You gather the invisible intelligence, and when you finally do speak, your words carry the weight of a judge rendering a verdict rather than a frantic student trying to get a passing grade. You do not compete with the machine's speed, you master the human dimension of timing. When you look at all of these ancient rules together, a profound pattern emerges. You are not actually competing with artificial intelligence. That is a ghost story told to keep you anxious. You are competing with the human being who knows how to rule the artificial intelligence. When you internalize this, the anxiety of the AI boom completely evaporates. You stop looking at the algorithm as a replacement, and you start looking at it as a very fast, very obedient intern. You let the intern do the reading. You let the intern do the typing. You let the intern build the spreadsheets and format the slides. And you step back. You look at the board, and you decide where the pieces actually need to go. You become the general. You become the architect. You become the strategist. The great silent substitution is real. It is happening quietly. The smart are being fired every single day because their intelligence is cheap and reproducible, but the wise are being promoted, elevated, and rewarded with unprecedented leverage. Because in a world drowning in synthetic answers, the person who knows which questions to ask and how to navigate the human heart is the rarest commodity on earth. The people who will be promoted are not the ones who try to become machines. They are the ones who learn to rule them. Solomon wrote it 3,000 years ago. The tool is nothing without the strategist. The question is, will you apply it today? If this changed the way you see your career and the future of your work, subscribe to Applied Wisdom, because the oldest code in the world still has something to teach you.